I'm going to have brain freeze for a week. I'm going to take so much of your ice cream. Anyway, the definition of revenge in the... Don't you touch that gummy bear. Don't you touch that gummy bear. Son?
What are you doing here?
We need to have a very serious father-to-son discussion about protection.
Shut up, Dad.
This is serious. Now that you're a man, I know that you and that girlfriend of yours have been going out, what are the kids today calling it? Splitting the wood?
No one calls it that anymore, Dad.
Well, it's very important.
You're a douchebag.
You need to listen. It's very important that you protect yourself because I love you.
Stop being
I love you
gross.
and you need to protect yourself. So, I want to make sure that you know how to use one of these.
Oh, Dad, that's gross. Put that back.
You need to watch this. I'm going to demonstrate on myself,
Dad.
so that you have some sense
Gee,
of
this is
how
so
to
gross.
use
Dad,
this particular...
Dad, this is
Hey YouTube, this is Praxis Prepper, and this week I'm on vacation here at Yellowstone National Park. If you've never been, it is a really interesting geological area because the entire park is located on top of the caldera of a massive supervolcano that only erupts every 600,000 years. While I'm here, this week, it had to erupt this week while I'm here. That's perfect timing. That's great. Well, as soon as that shockwave hits, I'm gonna get fried, so I guess since I'm gonna die anyway, I might as well take this opportunity to get a few things off my chest. The big one really is that it's been a secret, but I guess I'll share it now. I'm quad-gendered polyamorous. Even I don't really understand what the quad-gendered part means, but polyamorous means that I am sexually attracted to plastic. I wanted to share that because... What happened?
Well, the effect was going to be too time-consuming if it hit the tree line, so we decided to stop it before the tree line.
Oh, so that means I'm not going to die?
Yeah, you're good. What was that sexual peculiarity you were talking about?
Well...
What was that all about?
This is a joke. I just...
A joke, yeah?
Just fooling.
Mm-hmm.
Just fooling around. I'm totally normal. Totally normal. What's a six-letter word starting with the letter P that means someone who says they're going to do something but doesn't do it?
Praxis?
This is video log number 100. It's been 100 days since the aliens invaded and dropped the bird flu-infested clown zombies. I was prepared for that contingency. As a prepper, of course, you would prepare for that. So the very next day, I started my fortifications and, of course, gardening. Now, I'd never gardened before. It's been a bit of a rough go. Steep learning curve, I suppose. But this morning, I finally started reaping the rewards from that garden. I just harvested 20 pumpkins. This is the largest of the pumpkins. This is smaller than I anticipated. I don't know if this is going to work out. Hey YouTube, this is Praxis Prepper. Imagine with me for a moment, total collapse. Total Teotihuacan. Total Teotihuacan. The end of the world as we know it. You're walking across a post-apocalyptic landscape, scrounging for everything that you need for your daily life. You see a building, the first building that you've seen in months. You go inside for shelter, for comfort, for safety. There's one room inside the building, has scientific markings on it. There's electricity running into the room. There's still some lights on inside. You go in there, bright flashing lights, electricity. That was a time machine. You just walked into a time machine, and now you're 100,000 years into the future. What are you gonna do now? Now it's even more total Teotihuacan. More total Teotihuacan. It's a post-apocalyptic landscape. There's nothing anymore. These peaches you see behind me, they're gone. Extinct. You do find one can, a can of delicious food. You open it up with your can opener that you happen to have in your pocket when you walked into the time machine. You open it up. It's a delicious soup-like material. But you don't have a spoon. There's no spoons. Spoons are gone. Are you going to suffer the indignity of trying to drink it out of the can? No. You need a spoon, but you don't have one. Are you going to starve to death? What are you going to do? What are you going to do, asshole? Huh. Looks like it's gonna rain tomorrow. That's it! I am sick and tired of your shit pessimism!
Have we survived yet?
No, not yet.
Have we survived yet?
No.
Have we survived yet? Have we survived
No.
yet? Have we survived
No.
yet? Have we survived
No.
yet? Have we
No.
survived yet?
No.
Have we survived?
Dude, are you drinking out of the piss cup? No. The Berkey filter's just getting a little old. It's not what it used to be. Looks like the piss cup, dude. Oh. No. You're right. Yeah, this is the piss cup.
What are you doing?
Oh, it's just an antibiotic.
What do I need that shit for?
Well, you got a little bit of fuzz on your fins.
Wait, that says human antibiotic.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's for people too, but it's penicillin, and penicillin is penicillin. So
No
don't
way.
worry about
No
it. It's all
fucking
the
way.
same thing. Okay.
Listen
I'm
up,
just-
Dairy Queen.
Okay, I'm
You
just-
put that shit in here, and you're gonna be sleeping with the fishes tonight. I don't mean that sexually. That was not intended to be sexual. That was a threat.
I'm sorry.
Holy shit! You fucking you better watch your back, you mother.
Hey YouTube, this is Praxis Prepper. On a recent alien invasion episode, I used a Faraday trash can to protect some of my electronic devices. Now, I got a lot of questions about... What are you doing? I told you to stay in my childhood. I told you to stay in my childhood. The power of Fred compels you. The power of Fred compels you. The power of Fred compels you. The power of Fred... Which clown zombies are they dropping? Those are totally the bird flu infected ones. I have trained for this. It's time to bug out. Oh yeah, we're out in the wild now. We're getting out of here. Shit. Where the f am I even going? Where am I going?
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we're talking about the power of prepping, the wisdom of being prepared for life. We're talking about the story of Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls, a survival hero who survived 40 minutes in the desert. That's right, that morning he woke up in his hotel room. He went down to the production meeting with all the rest of the crew. Did he have a full crew breakfast? He had a continental breakfast, just a continental breakfast of waffles, toast, bacon, eggs, coffee. Someone give me an amen. He was starving with this scant breakfast. The production crew had warm coats on. It was very cold that morning. But did Bear Grylls have a production coat? No, he had his costume. He was suffering in his costume. He had hand warmers in his pockets and his boots and all up and down his back. But other than that, he was suffering, surviving in the wilderness. Someone give me an amen. Hold on, hold on. I'm feeling the power of prepping. It's telling me somewhere in the audience there's an unbeliever, someone who doesn't believe in the wisdom of prepping. But don't worry, don't worry. Someone give me an amen. Someone give me an amen. Give me an hallelujah. That's right, that's right. We're gonna turn them into a believer.
Well, that was offensive. Are you one of the millions of Americans who think Praxis Prepper has just gone too far? Are you asking yourself how anyone with a different view on foreign policy could ever teach you anything about gardening or other survival skills?
Praxis Prepper actually carries a gun? I can't listen to him.
I had to put on body armor and unsubscribe so my mind wouldn't be blown.
Well, unsubscribing from Praxis Prepper has never been easier. In the past, unsubbing on YouTube was a nightmare. There were mail-in forms, messy waxes, not to mention those hard-to-clean blades. But no more. Now, unsubscribing to Praxis Prepper is as easy as the click of a button. Simply scroll down to the unsubscribe button, click it, and instantly you're back in a safe space.
The man cans trash. I mean, trash in other people's dumpsters. Just count me out.
It's been 2 weeks since Black Panther came out, and he hasn't said a thing. Unsubbed.
Praxis ain't no prepper. He doesn't even do gear reviews.
That's right, your safe space is just one click away. Unsubscribe today. Hey YouTube, this is Praxis Prepper, and today is a very special episode. I've been waiting a long time to do it, and to help me with it, I figured I'd ask Amber to help me out. Oh, hey, our banana showed up. Sweet. Okay, cool. Hey, could you help me with today's episode?
Yeah, sure. What's it about?
Awesome. Oh, well, the title of it is Teabagging and Shit Eating for Post-Test...
No!
What are you doing? I need your help! I need your help! I need your help! River, it's happening! Look! Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and you know, this may not actually be as bad as I was thinking. The entire top of the tire is fine. It's actually only the bottom that's flat. So I'm probably in better shape than I was thinking that I was, huh? Hey everybody, this is Praxis, and in this video I'm reviewing the TAC9er Tactical Multi-Tool Shovel. It has a lot of features and tools in it, some of which you may find rather surprising. It's amazing! Praxis Prepper here for Billy Mays for Easy Prep. Did you forget to stock your pantry before the apocalypse? It's not a problem with Easy Prep. Maybe you were sent a letter with some weaponized anthrax. You can eliminate that anthrax with the power of Easy Prep. And what about a foreign military incursion? It's no problem with Easy Prep. Hey, bro, what you eating?
I don't know, it's just something I found in the fridge.
Those are some mushrooms I found in the woods.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
How's it going? What you reading? What's going on? Hello?
Yeah, I'm just pissed off, you know. The world is just full of, WMDs, EMPs, CMEs, MREs, VDs. Don't even get me started on SJWs, you know? SJWs.
He doesn't like social justice.
You know, I just feel like the world would be better if we just blew the whole thing up and started from scratch.
I presume you would not be blown up in this.
Yeah, right. Of course.
Well, that's one way to look at it. I prefer...
You know, F this. I need to go do a BM.
TMI.
Are you still moping here? Yeah, I know, the shit at the fan, there's been a major collapse and everything. But, you can't live in a cave like this. You get all these cardboard over the windows and everything. It's depressing. We need to live again. It's America. I'm going to start by taking this down right here. It's time to...
I'm an athlete. I have an athlete's mind, an athlete's hand, and athlete's foot. Which really sucks. Because it's itchy.
Side effects include headache, flushing, upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease or loss in vision or hearing.
You know, what you just said just there is exactly the way that I feel. It is exactly the way that I feel about this. Ever since we entered this period of total grid down collapse, with the exception of cell phones working perfectly, I could not be more happy. I mean, it is vindication that, where everyone had been questioning my judgment and thinking that prepping was a sensible idea. Now they know I am a man of solid judgment. That, I can see dangers and, respond to them appropriately. And, so many people have, my family and friend network have asked for help. I told them to essentially screw off. Oh yeah. I mean, if there was a stranger that showed up, I would totally be open to that. But as far as anyone that I knew that had questioned my judgment, oh wait, actually there's someone knocking at the door right now. I'll call you back. Hello?
Hi. I'd like to join your group.
Sounds fine to me.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the live stream. If you're new to the live stream, this is a forum, a venue where we can ask questions and answer questions about homestead building, retreat building, or anything really to do with emergency preparedness, prepping, all of that kind of stuff. I have a pretty cool clip of what's been going on this week at our homestead build site. There's been a lot of developments, including anyone following the series for a while, you know that there have been a lot of weird things happening, horrible things happening to the contractors, flesh-eating diseases. I'm kind of forgetting at this point, a global disease pandemic. There's been a lot of issues that have... Yeah, the brain cancer. Another thing happened just today, so I have a sense of zeal and enthusiasm in the clip that you're going to be seeing later on of what happened earlier today that got canceled mid-afternoon by something that happened, and I'll share that with you guys a little bit later. But again, just if you're new to this, I've built many homesteads in the past. Well, I've built one homestead in the past. I've built many house structures in the past. It's something that I've feel like I've gotten a fair degree of education from through trial and error. If you would like to go out and get yourself land, get yourself some kind of a place that you could go during an emergency situation, or even just have like a low-cost vacation place, hit me up with any questions that you have, all the way from like how do I start the process to how do I finish it. And one of those routes is to take 500 days. Tomorrow is day 500 for myself personally. So it can be a long process, but it doesn't have to be long. And I think
we just had a series of unfortunate holdups.
A series of unfortunate events over and over again. Nothing really terrible has happened to us. It's just everyone connected with us. It's
you're cursed.
I've been told that by many people recently, actually. Before we jump into the Q&A part of it, why don't we actually go to the clip where I'm kind of on cloud 9 this morning before that thing happened. And yep, that one right there. From the other location to this location, and what was holding that up was that we didn't have water. I could not take care of them. Now, the past week we've had a lot of thunderstorms come through, so water hasn't been an issue here. But presuming the thunderstorms stop at some point, it's really important to be able to have water source for these things if we're going to bring them here. So now that we have the well pump working, we are able to bring these guys, and these are going to go into the ground pretty soon. Now, I've got some Miracle Grow potting soil here. I wouldn't recommend, if you were going to do trees, going with that for two reasons. One is this is like petrochemical stuff. I just got this from some neighbor that was moving out of their house, and they were like, hey, I'm going to throw this stuff out. Do you want it? And I'm like, okay, sure, because I don't like things go to waste. The other reason I wouldn't go with this bag stuff is that it's a lot more expensive. If you get cubic yards of compost delivered to your house, it can be a lot cheaper. So I'm going with those just because I happen to have them, but I wouldn't necessarily go that way myself. Just if you're curious, this is a methyl plum, and over here we have 3 snow white peaches over here, and these have already been planted in the ground. I have a kind of limited amount of compost material, so I did these 3. I've just got that potting soil for the other one, but I'm trying to bring compost from the other house, which I have a pile of it there, because we're waiting on the compost to get delivered to this location by the landscape people, but they haven't been able to deliver it because they have had a medical emergency, which is, I'm getting used to those. The person's okay, they're in the hospital for a while, now they're out, so it's good, but delays as usual. This has been working lately, so we've been able to warm up water for tea, which has been really nice. The house, I've been feeling this way, and River said this earlier the other day. It's starting to feel like kind of like a home. We're getting lots of amenities. Here we've got, not only do we have the hose, but we also have, if I loosen up here, we got running water here, which is kind of like an outdoor shower. It's easier to wash your hands. At the moment, all we have is water coming out of the hose from the domestic water that's coming from the pump. But that's a nice way of washing your hands. Here we are on the inside. We've even got plants moving in here, and there's been a lot of carpentry work kind of under the stairs area. The whole area with the brickwork is all complete at this point here, and the stonework behind it is also complete. Now, this is complete insofar as the physical application of the mortar and the stones. I am going to be putting some tung oil on it, and that'll really bring out the color and the beauty of all those stones. That's something I'm going to be doing, in a couple of days or so. But at this point, it's really nice to see that all done. One of the big projects for today for me, and it's not a big project, is to move the sink unit and move that trash bag, because we're getting the refrigerator delivered. And I'm just going to put it right there, and we've already got foods that are ready to go into it. The reason that we're bringing food right now is actually two reasons. One, again, I'm trying to make this to be a comfortable home environment so we can spend full days here. We've been here 9 to 5 pretty much every day for the past several days, and it's made possible thanks to this right here, which, well, it's not being used at the moment because we're doing school activities, but this right here, we have a computer and internet access here. So it's just much more enjoyable for River to be kind of here and, playing with his friends. He can do online, connecting with his friends, playing games and things like that, between doing school activities and some outdoor activities as well. So really the big development here is that this house structure is really starting to feel sort of homey, and with every passing day it gets more and more so. In terms of the plumber, they are ready to come in and finish up. We've got all the tile work set on the floor in here, and it's pretty shady over there, but this is where the toilet is over there. And now that we have the tile work down on the floor, they can come back and do the final install stuff for all their plumbing. Now, I don't have a sink or anything, but I know enough about how to connect a sink that the plumber can do what they need to do, finish up, and then we can really start kind of feeling as though this place is, a home livable environment. We have a lot of food packing the refrigerator and freezer back at the other place because, we don't want to do a lot of grocery trip runs with the pandemic, and also just want to have plenty of food on hand. So now we're going to be able to have 2 refrigerators. I hope we're not running both of them at 110% capacity, because that's what we've been doing. Is the refrigerator at the other house is just crazy packed. So, if we kind of are running both at about 80% capacity, both will be, a lot easier to work with, get things in and out of, and we'll be able to have a lot more food accessible to us. So those are the big developments that we've been doing this past week. It's just been, it's been a really good feeling to kind of have this area really start to feel as though it's getting closer and closer to being a place where you could actually live. And isn't that really great that this camera, instead of focusing on the yard, which is interesting, is focusing on the screen? That's it. Let's go back to the live stream. The fridge never showed up. The delivery truck did, right on time. They called me 11 minutes prior and told me we were going to be there in 11 minutes. They didn't say this, but the implied message was, make sure you're ready. Totally ready. They had an auto accident on the road right in front of our driveway, and they hit like some utility lines, and it didn't really prevent them from delivering the refrigerator. They could have just continued down the driveway and dropped it off, or if they didn't want to move the vehicle, they could have unloaded it from the back and walked it down. But they were just really shaken by the experience, and they ended up just kind of backing up, and they were going to take the utility lines with them, except I suggested, well, hey, why don't we take a stick and lift them up? I know that can be dangerous. I think it was just the cable lines or whatever, and I don't know, I was willing to take that risk with my life to help them out. But yeah, I kind of got the utility lines off their truck, and they just backed up, and they said, you need a smaller truck, you need a smaller truck. So,
they had the refrigerator right there, but they
right
weren't
there.
going to give it to you. Why?
Yeah, they just seemed really flustered. Had it been an emergency from my perspective, I don't.
Chat.
Oh wow, super chat from someone. I will thank you in a moment after I finish complaining about these guys. No, I'm going to do it now. Thanks, Gav. Thank you very much. All the way from Ireland, and in U.S. dollars. We'll find a place for you on the shirt. Would you?
He says, sorry for missing the past few streams. Just got cleared and made it through COVID.
Oh wow! Well, good for you. The odds are in our favor for COVID, but it's still like it's a Russian roulette. You don't know when you're going to get it. Well, that's good, and you have probably immunity for a little while. So until it mutates. So good for you. Bang. Just find a place. Yeah, so I didn't harass them about it, and they said that they were going to be somewhere where you can see it.
I don't know.
No, like up here or something. I don't know. Or could like ooze between them, like magma between the cracks of rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So I didn't give him a hard time about it. But yeah, it was kind of deflating because I brought all that freezer food, and I just tore it out of the freezer here that's running at 110% capacity without any rhyme or reason. I was just like, just get it out of there. I never have to worry about putting this back again. That's the first thing I did when I came back. Put it all back. Actually, not all of it. River and I had some juice pops, and it was just kind of like, you ever see the scene in Jurassic Park where Hammond is sitting at the table and they're playing that like what's it called, Petticoat Lane music, whatever? No, it's not Petticoat Lane. I don't remember. It's like his flea circus music where he's thinking about his flea circus, and it's like on the piano, and he's like, I'm eating the ice cream. I can't do a Scottish accent. He's eating the ice cream because he's gonna melt anyway. So we were kind of doing that. So it was like, a little bit of upside, but yeah, it's kind of deflating. But I was prepared for that. We ordered everything back in April, anticipating there might be delays, and they said that they're going to be back in 4 days. So we'll see about that. I'm probably not going to bring all the frozen salmon this time, but yeah.
And you're also worried that the oven might not show up either.
I know the oven's not going to show up. I ordered the oven back in April, and they said it wouldn't be available for months and months. They say it's going to be available 10 days after the next delivery, but I'm not holding my breath on that one either. That's the great thing about it. Whenever you can be into prepping and preparedness, and I'll finish that thought in a moment because Amber wants to say something.
What are the plans for the other side of the stairs?
Okay, on the far side of the stair, I think you mean the side opposite the rocks. I'm going to guess that's what you mean. Kind of boring, actually. I might put a bookcase in there, which I guess isn't that boring, but it's not going to be anything as crazy as the stonework. The stonework, you guys watching the series, I think we're about like a week behind. I'm not sure where in the series I am on the stonework, but it's a lot of work. And talk about N95 mask work. Once you get the concrete on there, you really want to get it's all dripped down the stones and everything. So once that dries, you want to be like, taking a steel brush and scrub. And it takes a long time to do it. It's not, if I was facing a true emergency situation and we just had to get into the house as quickly as possible, maybe I'd be like, screw that, we're not going to do that. But it's awfully beautiful, and it has practical applications as well because it's right behind the wood stove. And while we have all the tunnels under the floor where the air is going to be running, and I'm really excited to see how that works. I've got a thermal camera, and I'm wondering if as you see the cold moving through the floor, as it's blowing the air under the floor, if you're going to see it warm up as it passes under the wood stove. And head over, you should see that. But even barring that, the wood stove is going to be throwing heat into that wall, and inside, under the stairs, is going to be a little closet, and I think that'd be a great kind of dough rising area because it'll be nice and warm. And as long as you don't have the racks touching the stairs, because the stairs would like shake the dough and make it all go flat, as long as they're like on the rock hard cement, I think that should be pretty good. And we got another question, comment, or a criticism, insult?
Speaking of the oven, are you going to use the stove to cook it all, or the oven/sun ovens? Okay.
Well, presently we are using the sun ovens when we have sun. We had no rain. I mean, if you guys been watching the series, you maybe have picked up, except for the fact that most of the time I'm shooting indoors and you wouldn't really know. I'll just let you know, we've had no rain. There was that one day when I was putting the hay down. I was like a hairy Sasquatch putting the hay down and everything. That was like the one day of rain over like maybe 2 months. We had that, and that wasn't even a day of rain. That was like, in the video I say something like, I'm sure the rain is going to stop as soon as I do this. I won't be able to wash off afterwards. The rain stopped like just as I was finishing. I wasn't able to wash up afterwards. But we've had like no rain, but as soon as we hooked up the water and we could actually start watering the grass and watering the trees, it's been like thunderstorms every day.
Manifestation of imagination just came.
Oh, hey, manifestation. And I actually want to welcome everyone. Who do we have? I know we have Kev 2D, Morning Lights here. Celeste was here, and Glenn is here. I saw Jason Stanley from Montana. And right at the beginning, we had my resident expert on opening bags, Ontario Homestead. Do we have anybody else that's popped in with us? Make sure, let me know whoever happens to pop in.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just in the middle of a thought earlier where I was just talking about like the fact that it wasn't an emergency. You know, we with the oven, you know, not the oven, the refrigerator. You know, we ordered the stuff way back, and that's the whole idea of prepping and preparedness, is thinking about things, thinking about the idea that there might be shortages and things. Now, I know that there was an accident, and that's not why, that's the reason that I didn't get the refrigerator. But the oven is still held up in all of this crazy COVID stuff. There's some parts that aren't, you know, able to be shipped out. Whatever factory makes whatever X, Y, or Z part for that oven, they're in short supply right now. So, you know, COVID is, I presume, you know, it seems sensible, is why the oven, which normally you get within a couple of days, is on like 3-month back order. But because I'm into prepping and preparedness, back in April, I was anticipating my situation here in July or August or September, or October, November, as we get later and later. And, you know, I made plans for it. And because of that, the fact that I have a 3 or 4 or 5 month delay is not killing me. You know, if I just ordered the ovens like at the end, which is like what any normal, sane, rational human being would do, it's like, I finished the house, now we can get the appliances. I'd be in a real bad situation, especially because in this state you have to have the appliances on site so they can see that there's an Energy Star logo on them, which I think is really lame. I'm not a big fan of like all those kind of I really like just the marketplace. I think if you just put a price on carbon, the price to clean it up, you know, you make a mess, you clean it up. You make a mess, you pay to clean it up. You know, whatever it is, if you put a price on that stuff, then people can make their own decisions. If you're super rich and you want to have horribly inefficient, you know, machines, as long as you're willing to like pay the cost of the cleanup of your ridiculous decision, you know, go for it. You know, I just that's the way I look at it. I hate like the nanny state, looking over your shoulder, making sure you make good decisions. People are really good at making good decisions if like the cost is higher of doing something dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when the incentives are backwards, and like, you know, really crappy food is what's cheap and really like high quality food is what's expensive. Look at America. That's what happens. So, you know, if you can incentivize stuff through price, I always just think that's a more efficient way of doing it, you know. But I'm not making rules. I'm just complaining about them. There was something I wanted to mention if we don't have any other questions, and this relates to what's been going on with you know, coronavirus, pandemic, you know, grocery store shopping and all of that. I was talking to someone the other day, and they bought some kind of milk, like almond milk or something like that, in those Tetra Pak containers. And what a Tetra Pak container is, if you're not familiar with it, is, you know, those like boxes of milk, or could be, you know, whatever, juice packs or whatever. You know, they're sitting on the shelf, and, you know, you don't have to refrigerate them. They're, you know, sitting on the grocery store shelves in the middle areas. That is, it looks like it's paper, but it's actually layers of paper and plastic and metal and paper and plastic and metal. It's like a lasagna of those things, which makes it horribly unrecyclable. It's you know, it's really good at preserving stuff, but it's, you know, terribly unrecyclable because it's just all these little layers, and, you know, ain't nobody got time for that. You know, to break that stuff apart. So anyway, they bought some almond milk in one of those containers, and they said that it was like coming up on expiration. Like it says, like, you know, sell by date, and it was like, you know, within just a couple of days. And, you know, so they had it sitting at their house for a while, and they're looking at this expiration date on that stuff. And they were saying, well, you know, do you think that's safe to consume? Because, you know, it's really close to expiration date. What I've been talking about this whole time is these. This is a Tetra Pak. This is, you know, they've got like little folds and everything. This one has like a little screw off top. In fact, this is almond milk. I had bought three boxes of this, 3 cases of this a while ago. I just had it in my pantry, and I never really used it because it doesn't really taste that good. It's like there's nutrients in it and whatever, but I always just prefer the stuff that you get that's like refrigerated. So we're always using soy milk or almond milk or hemp milk or flax milk, or I like to kind of shake it up in a variety. So we're always using all those. So I never really used these things until the coronavirus pandemic. I you know, wasn't going out and getting fresh milk for a while. So I cracked these guys open. What do you guys want to guess the expiration date is on this? Throw some guesses in here. I'm going to wait to tell you the end of the story once I tell you how old this thing is. I've consumed 3 cases of this. This is actually the last of all of them. see if you can guess how old these are, and the fact that I'm still alive. But what I wanted to talk about is the idea of some things being more prone to spoilage than others. Now, this is a little thing of hummus. It's empty now. In fact, it probably smells. Does it smell?
It has mold in it.
Yeah. It's like, it's been sitting in the recycle bin for a while. So this actually, this was in the refrigerator, or one very similar to this. Expiration date hadn't even gone by, and this one actually had mold in it. We were eating it the other day. You didn't know about that. I just kind of scooped the mold out and threw it away. And, I presume it was fine. We were fine with the whole thing. And it wasn't like disgusting looking mold. But, this is something that hadn't even reached expiration date, and it's in the refrigerator, and it's gone bad. Do we get some guesses here?
Some people said 3 years, someone said 2 years, someone said 5 years, and someone said 10 years.
Okay. Well, that's a nice wide net, and it does cover the date. Whoever said 5 years, who said 5 years? Celeste. Okay. Yeah. 5 years old. 10 years, maybe. It's not going to get that long because I'm going to be consuming this one. But yeah, 5 years old, no problems at all. It's got a little sediment at the bottom. You shake it up a bunch of times. And yeah. So whenever you're getting, whatever foods for emergencies or something like for your pantry, people sometimes get really hung up on expiration dates, and sometimes they're important, and sometimes they're not. And that's one of the reasons that it's great to get into prepping and preparedness early, so you can kind of do the practice and find out, because you don't want to like open up peanuts and cashews, for example. Peanuts, in my experience, my multiple experiences with it, because I like peanuts, don't last nearly as long as cashews. When you put peanuts in a bucket, put cashews in a bucket, oxygen absorbers, moisture absorbers in both of them. Peanuts are always going rancid before the cashews are. But you wouldn't know that unless you tried it out for yourself and found out. Yeah. Or listened to Praxis. We got a question?
Yeah. Any thoughts on prepping for a dog other than food and stuff for it?
I have never. I had a dog for a while. Yeah, I wasn't really into prepping when I had Amelia though. Mm-hmm. Like I had Amelia. Could you get the picture of Amelia? No, never mind. Forget it. I could hold up the picture, and it's just a picture of a dog. It means something to me, but it wouldn't mean anything to you guys. Plus, it's like the focus here is like here. You just never would be able to see it or appreciate it. She was a beagle. She was a very cute beagle. I've got a picture of her wearing a life jacket while she was on a sailboat. Well, yeah, I do have a little bit of advice. Actually, it's the kind of advice that could save you a crap load of money, whether, there's an emergency or not. It regards like medications and stuff like that. One thing that I had done when I had her, and I think you're probably asking this question maybe related to food, because I know that her food only lasted a certain amount of time. That'd be a challenge. I think you'd really just need to kind of experiment, see which foods last longer, and storage, and whether you want to put moisture absorbers in there and everything. That's a trial and error thing.
And maybe if it's possible, try to make some on your own.
Like kill a squirrel? I don't know. I did, sure, but I didn't think I was going to hear you say it.
I don't know how to take care of dogs.
Well, okay, yeah, I do actually have a pretty cool tip, and I think you guys, anyone who's not already doing this, when I say this, you're really going to regret that you didn't know this for like years and years, because this saved me an enormous amount of money. And I'm just trying to like build it up here for a while, because I'm just trying to get audience interest. Okay, I was going to tell you, what was it? What's the liquid you put in there? The flea and tick, the flea and tick stuff that you put like up in their neck. And I know some people are like rabidly against this, pun intended. Some people like doing the flea and tick stuff. I think we had done it because, we live in New England. There's just Lyme disease everywhere. It's like it's just crawling on the walls. There's probably Lyme ticks in this room right now. Probably on me. Okay, so the flea and tick stuff. Now, that's pretty expensive. If you ever bought that stuff, it's like it comes in a little like plastic foil kind of thing, and you break it open and you pour it and it absorbs into their skin. And I think that the reason that kind of stuff is probably okay with dogs is because they have such a short lifespan. The horrible toxins in the medicine probably won't kill them before they just die of their own natural causes. Because dogs only live like 15 years top. That's like starting to be an old dog. Yeah. So anyway, that stuff. That can be pretty expensive. And I was buying that stuff, and Beagle's not a particularly big dog. And every month it's like, I forget, it was like it's like a certain amount per dose. And it's like whether you had a big dog or a little dog, you're paying pretty much the same per dose. Well, that stuff, you can actually take that stuff, get the dosage for a really large dog, and you can, I'm giving medical advice here. I don't want to kill anyone's dog. You got to don't take my advice for this. I'm giving advice, but it's like, I don't know, you get a little bit nervous when you're giving out like medical advice. I don't know, like maybe my dog was weird and like this was fine for her. But anyway, I took big dog, flea and tick stuff and meted it out into like a graduated test tube, and I could tell how much I was giving her, and I took a little pipette kind of thing, and I would give her the dosage that she would normally have gotten, and it seemed to work fine. And again, that's medical advice, and you got to do your own research. And that's like that experience that I just relayed to you. That is the extent of my medical expertise in that. So, take it for what it's worth. But I saved an enormous amount of money because I was able to take like Saint Bernard size stuff or whatever, and I think I got like 7 doses out of one. So like I reduced my expenditures by 7 times doing that way. So so obviously medicines are one thing that you have to think about, and and foods. But I'm sorry, it's probably a disappointing answer, but it can save you a bunch of money, and it worked for me. I didn't kill my dog. I can't say that'd be the experience for everyone. So you'd have to take responsibility for your own decisions. Do we have any other questions? Otherwise, we've got 3 minutes left.
Someone said, I would really like to know more about the sheds you have built with solar panels and batteries. All help and suggestions appreciated.
Okay. Who asked that question?
Morning Light?
Okay, yeah. A lot of people are on me for giving more information about the sheds. You're not the only one. One of the reasons that I have not highlighted the shed that I built at the new homestead more so in the videos is because the moment the interior was done and dry and protected, I just loaded that thing up with like all the crap from here. And there's like so much stuff. You can't bring stuff to like a Salvation Army or a Goodwill or whatever because they're not accepting donations. We had so much stuff that we were like just on the cusp of getting ready to give away because we're in these moves, and that's when you find all this stuff. We just took all that stuff and it just shoved in there, so it's like kind of a mess, and it's kind of hard to really illuminate. So that's me just explaining why I haven't really gone into them. But I will talk a little bit more about the overall process. The overall process of building the shed is the same as building the house. I made a foundation, and I like doing foundations for everything. I just love starting things on stone. And one of the great things about having that shed at the new homestead built, actually both homesteads, I built it on a foundation. One of the great things about that is it is giving you that geothermal energy from the earth. And in the winter that's warm, and in the summer that's cool. I went in there just today to drop off just another pile of crap from the house. And it's been really hot and muggy here, really humid. You know what I'm talking about. Amber's not a fan of hot, humid weather. So it's been uncomfortably warm here. I stepped into that shed. It doesn't have any air conditioning. In fact, it's got giant solar panels on the roof, allegedly gathering heat. It was so cool in there. Of course, the solar panels are not running or anything, and they actually create a little separation from the roof. So I guess they're actually sort of shading the structure. But just having the basement there, it was cooling the entire space there. I built that place so that it could possibly be a home, and I built it using the same design style as the house. So sill plates, and then floor beams, and decking across, and then posts, and then putting the rafters in place, and then just sheathing it using the same method, and putting the insulation on there. It makes it cool in the summer and warmer in the winter, and it makes it just so much more versatile. And it could totally be a tiny house. I don't think I want to go in any deeper than that on it, because otherwise it's a real deep dive and we don't have much time left, and we got one other question. But always praxisprepper@gmail.com. Hit me up if you ever have any specific questions. I'm very happy to answer them.
They expanded on their question. Do I have to have a wood shed to put solar on, or can I use metal?
Do I have to have a wooden shed to put? Okay, yeah. The way that they mounted the solar panels onto the shed that I had, I was actually kind of surprised by. And this is a really good question, because I was kind of wondering about this myself until they actually did it. Now, the shed that I have there, as you probably know, it's got the wooden skeleton, the wooden rafters, and then there's layers of the sheathing wood, and then there's foam, and then there's strapping boards, and on top of the strapping is the metal roofing material. And I was kind of wondering about well, I was talking to the installers about well, do you guys want to know what the substructure is there, so you'll know where to anchor things? And what they told me and what they did is that they actually just attached it right to the middle of the roof. The roof is flat with a little bump and flat with a little bump, and they've got these little grabbers that kind of just aim for the bumps and grab onto them and screw in and anchor right onto the metal roof. So I could have made the place out of Jello if there was some way of doing that.
What?
And as long as they had that metal roof structure, they could attach the solar panels right to that. So as long as you can hold a metal roof rigidly, just as long as you can build a roof that is strong and it's just such a stupid thing for me to say. If you're going to build a roof, obviously you're going to make it strong. So if you create a structure and it's holding the roof and the roof's not falling down, they can mount the solar panels right onto that, and it doesn't really matter what's underneath. Do you have another question?
Yeah.
Otherwise, this will probably be the last question. Great questions tonight.
In the homestead hut, do you have a dedicated farm grow plot, or is it just going to be raised beds and planters?
Okay. One of the great things I like about jumping into any kind of a project like this is that you don't have to have all the answers at the beginning. As long as you kind of know what your options are going to be, you can kind of hold stuff open. So what I'm kind of planning on is kind of making a lot of those decisions as I go forward. I know with the last homestead, it started as one thing and that got comfortable. And then you kind of get ideas flowing in your head about well, wouldn't it be neat, if we did a little raised bed over here or this area over here, it gets such good sun and it always dries out early in the spring. Once you kind of get into an area, and by dry out, I mean you get sun exposure, it's, the soil's draining, not that it turns into a desert. But, once you live in a place, you kind of get to know the little microclimates where the glass of your windows reflects sunlight at a certain time of day and it banks into a certain area, and that creates additional sun that seems to be really good for plants. So it's good to kind of feel like you're not going to know all the answers until you get in there and you're living for a while. So I just want to say that I think that's important to not feel like you need to know everything when you go in. But that said, I do have kind of a plan about where I want to start, and I think I'm not sure if I've highlighted in the series. We do have kind of a dedicated area where it's going to be garden at the beginning. As you guys saw in the video that I played from today, where I'm kind of showing where the trees are getting planted, there is, well, I'll kind of use this, I guess. This is kind of the yard in front of the house. The house is kind of... Why don't I use this as the house? Because that looks like the house. And the yard is in the front over here. The trees are going to be kind of planted, pop, 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 to kind of ring this little this stone wall we have here. And just on the side in this area is going to be where we're going to be doing our garden. For now, I'm starting to put some stonework around that. But, later on we might decide, let's put another bed here. Or also behind the house, because in the wintertime, the angle of the sun is low. You get a lot of shadow behind the house over here. But in the summertime, the sun's pretty high. The entire back area of the house, even though it's on the north side, the shadow side of the house, in the summertime, when you actually want to grow, it's getting some pretty darn good sun. So I think we're going to have some gardens in the back there. Maybe extend the orchard around to the back side as well. So I think the big answer I can give you is start out with a plan, but then once you get going, know that don't get married to it. Don't get stuck to it too much, because you may see some other opportunities as you're going forward. I think that's got to be it, unless there was some question that has some kind of flattery in it for me or something like that.
I don't think there are any more questions from what I can see.
Typical. Totally typical.
What?
Why don't we go out on... I'm sorry, this is really unprofessional. I should have told you this earlier. I think that one right there.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you guys all for joining. I really, I always look forward to these. It's a great opportunity for me to kind of digest a lot of stuff on my own too. I mean, it's certainly an opportunity for you guys to ask me things, but just having a chance to talk about it, it kind of recrystallizes my own brain, kind of what are the important things. And to be honest, talking about what it's like to start out kind of makes me feel pretty good about the fact that we're 500 days in and we're not on day 0 right now. So that's it. Thank you very much for joining us. This episode has been brought to you in part by Prescott Caliber Club and Jeske Defense Strategies. Prescott Caliber Club is a federally licensed firearm manufacturer and retail store specializing in firearms, survival gear, and producing great online content. If you want to thank them for supporting this channel, go check them out at PrescottCalClub.com. Please subscribe and tune in every Friday at 4:30 New York time for a new video. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can do so both through Patreon or PayPal.